In the headlines, court fixes Wednesday to rule on FG's suit against ASUU as protesting students block Lagos Airport Road. Court sentences Evans to 78 years imprisonment. NDLEA seizes biggest cocaine consignment in Lagos warehouse. Away from Nigeria, UK lays Queen Elizabeth II to rest after state funeral. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. And now the details. Ahead of the commencement of election campaign, a group called Arewa Solidarity Group convened an interfaith special prayers for security and peace to reign throughout the period. According to the group, the 2023 elections is important to all Nigerians, hence the need to embark on this year's prayer for the successful polls. The report.
The council says the briefing is to draw attention of its members on their role as heir to the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and also remain vigilant as the Kaduna State and the country is about to witness another campaign period. In view of this, the council said that it has no preferred candidate in the forthcoming election in the state.
For long, we have never had any candidate of our own choice. Ours is to allow the terrain. Then we normally sit down with the aspirants, we have discussion with them, and then whichever one that is going to bring peace and progress to Kaduna State is mostly our candidate.
It also admonished members to be wary of certain politicians who want to cause disunity among members of the council.
On this premise, the council is calling on all members to resist and desist any temptation by individual politicians or groups whose sole aim is to bring discomfort and ill feelings among members by way of disuniting and misinforming the members. Such adherents resort to getting members, resort to settling members with peanuts in order to win their sympathy, the severity of which is not of their own concern.
The Council of Imams maintains that it is already planning an agenda towards 2023 election and will soon make its position public in the state. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
The National Industrial Court has adjourned the interlocutory injunction ruling on the ongoing hearing of the government challenging the ongoing strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, to 21st of September. Noel Samson, who was at the court, tells us more.
Going by the current development, prayers of millions of Nigerians concerning the ongoing industrial action by ASUU will soon be answered. This was made known by the counsel to the federal government, where he stated the government will want the strike called off so that the students and lecturers can return back to school while court proceedings continue.
As you know, when the case came up on Friday, last Friday, the Honorable Court made an order adjourning the hearing of the application by the federal government for an interlocutory injunction seeking to restrain the Academic Staff Union of Universities from continuing with the strike pending the hearing and determination of the referral made by the Honorable Minister of Labour and Employment. When the matter came up this morning, we informed the court that we are ready to go on with the application, the business of the day. However, the learned counsel for the ASUU said he had filed another application for a preliminary objection, which was served on us right in court at about 11 a.m. And we told the court that application was not right for hearing. What was right for hearing is the application for interlocutory injunction, and we argued along those lines, and the Honorable Court agreed with us.
The counsel to ASUU, Femi Falana, who was also optimistic that the industrial action will come to an end, he said the readiness of President Muhammadu Buhari to meet with stakeholders and the invitation of ASUU by the lawmakers concerning the matter can be seen in a positive light.
There are moves by the government to continue to explore an amicable resolution of this matter in the interest of the nation and in the interest of our children, as well as the lecturers who are affected by the strike. The leadership of the House of Representatives has invited the ASU and other stakeholders to an urgent meeting in the National Assembly tomorrow. If the government will at least consider the interests of the students and the national interest. And we hope that the intervention of the House of Reps tomorrow will go a long way to addressing the issues that are still left.
It is hoped that amicable solution will be reached and the 7-month strike will be a history. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
A federal high court in Abuja on Monday dismissed a suit filed by the People's Democratic Party, PDP, challenging the legality of the substitution of the placeholders by the All Progressives Congress, APC, and Labour Party with substantive presidential running mates. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports that the PDP had asked the court to disqualify the presidential candidates of the two parties on that ground.
The People's Democratic Party had approached the court to determine whether the respondents, APC and Labour Party and their respective presidential candidates, contravened provisions of the Electoral Act by substituting their initial placeholders. While APC had Ibrahim Masari as placeholder, Doyin Okupe served as Labour Party placeholder before his replacement with Yusuf Datti, and Kashim Shatima replaced Masari in the APC. But in their submissions before Justice Donatus Okoronwo, defense counsels raised the issues of jurisdiction of the court to entertain the suit on the grounds that it is a pre-election matter which the plaintiff lacks locus to institute.
There is an evidence of the voluntary withdrawal of these candidates. So the court decided to align with our argument that the decision to withdraw is really the right thing. The court decided that the plaintiff lacks the local standard to institute this action. And of course, the court didn't go into the merits of the case. The court held that it lacks permission to entertain this matter.
In his judgment, Justice Donatus Okoronwo held that the court lacks jurisdiction to grant the reliefs sought by the applicants, as he upheld the respondent's argument that the plaintiff actually lacked the locus to institute the case. The trial judge then dismissed the case for want of jurisdiction and a lack of locus standi on the part of the People's Democratic Party to institute the case. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, ahead of commencement of election campaign, a group called Arewa, we've taken that story, but let's just let you know that Justice Oluwatoyin Taiwo, sitting at the Ikeja Special Offences Court on Monday, convicted kidnap kingpin Chukwudimeme Omumadike, also known as Evans, and his accomplice Victor Aduba, a dismissed soldier, of criminal conspiracy, kidnapping, and illegal possession of firearms. Evans and co-defendant Victor Aduba were convicted on 4 criminal counts of criminal conspiracy, kidnapping, taking ransom, and unlawful possession of firearms. In a judgment that lasted for about an hour, the court sentenced Evans to a total of 52 years and the co-defendant got 26 years jail term. The breakdown shows that Evans got 5 years for criminal conspiracy, 21 years for kidnapping and ransom, another 21 years for illegal possession of firearms, and another 5 years, adding up to 52 years. On his part, Victor Aduba got 5 years for conspiracy and 21 years for kidnapping and ransom, adding up to 26 years. In what appears to be the biggest singular cocaine seizure in the history of Nigeria's premier anti-narcotic agency, Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have busted a major warehouse in a secluded estate in Ikorodu area of Lagos, where 1.8 tons, an equivalent of 1,855 kilograms of the illicit drug worth nearly $3 million were seized. At least 4 drug barons, including a Jamaican and the warehouse manager, have been arrested in the well-coordinated and intelligence-led operation that lasted 2 days across different locations in Lagos State. A statement by the Director, Media and Advocacy of the agency, Femi Babafemi, listed the kingpins of the cocaine cartel in custody to include Soji Jibril, 69, from Oyo State, Emmanuel Chukwu, 65, from Anambra State, Wasiu Akinade, 53, from Oyo State, Sunday Oguntelure, and from Ondo State, and Kelvin Smith, 42, a native of Kingston, Jamaica. According to Babafemi, preliminary investigation reveals that Class A drugs were housed in the residential estate from where the cartel was trying to sell them to buyers in Europe, Asia, and other parts of the world. The Islamic Development Bank, ISDB, an international financial institution fostering economic development and social progress of member countries and Muslim communities, is seeking media partnership to help project the activities of the institution in Nigeria. This formed part of the deliberations during a courtesy visit to Media Trust Group, which it has identified as a reliable partner that will amplify its operations in the country. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu has more.
Executives from the Islamic Development Bank acknowledged the institution's desire for a better media representation and collaboration, especially in Nigeria, being a member country. The financial institution says it focuses on financing humanitarian activities and special initiatives in 11 regional hubs, totaling 57 member countries across the world, with particular interest in finance, education, health services, energy, transportation, water, and urban sanitation, among others.
See how we can better cooperate, how we can better work together and have partnership, long partnership, to make sure that what is being done in the bank, whether it is in Nigeria or in other member countries, it is, what do you call it, projected here, and people know better what the Islamic Development Bank stands for.
We need to showcase people that we are contributor to the socio-economic status. We are trying to give them opportunity for a better chance to utilize the resources.
In granting financial access to basic needs, the ISDB says energy is one major sector it hopes to harness in rural areas.
Most of our member countries are underdeveloped, and when we talk about Nigeria, when we talk about energy, it's not just about the big energy projects. Sometimes we talk about the basic electricity for the some of the villages of the places they are out of energy.
Admitting its strong presence in the Muslim communities of the country, representatives of Media Trust Group say it's open to collaboration with the bank in order to project the ideals of the institution through a mutually beneficial partnership.
No media house that covers the north of Nigeria like us, because, and northern Nigeria is the dominant part of the Muslim community of Nigeria, so which means it's an important segment of the country that should know what Islamic Development Bank is doing. We have a program which, though is commercial, which we call CCC, co-created content. So it's something that yourselves and ourselves will sit down, create the content.
The ISDB, which works in accordance with the principles of Sharia, however, applies the needs assessment of member countries and non-Muslim communities to further drive its socio-economic development objectives. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching the news update on Trust Television. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at longing for return of rail transportation. Details of this and more after the break.
TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. This is the news update on Trust Television. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Court fixes Wednesday to rule on FG's suit against ASU as protesting students block Lagos Airport Road. Court sentences Evans to 78 years imprisonment. Elsewhere, the Secretariat area of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway was on Monday flooded, worsening the existing traffic on the expressway in Lagos. The gridlock spanned the flooded Secretariat area to the Long Bridge area of the expressway. Motorists who struggled to wade through the flood decried at the state of the road. The road, which is currently being reconstructed, has been narrowed for repairs leading to the gridlock. On its website, the contractor claims that the reconstruction will take 30 months and will include 10 pedestrian bridges and 2 flyovers, as well as expansion of the road. The federal government has been called upon to revive the railway services in Maiduguri to boost economic development and affordable means of transportation within and across the northeastern part of the country. Bitrus Kurutsi reports that the railway station in Maiduguri stopped operation in 2009 due to conflict in the northeast. The report.
This looks like a ghost house. Dust, debris, and spider webs clog the interior of the abandoned train coaches. The spacious yard where people used to gather with their luggage and merchandise now turned into a farmland. The Maiduguri train station was operating in the 60s until it was abandoned in 2009, with only few staff reporting to duty daily. During its functional days, Abaganaram community was a beehive of economic activities, and it was one of the cheapest, dependable, and well-organized mode of transportation across the country. Ali Usman, recalling his youth days when he boarded the train, said insurgency was responsible for the shutdown. I was young when I first entered a train, but I can't remember the exact year, but I traveled to Gombe State. I went to complete an agreement with a friend there, and at that time, the train transport fare is affordable and you travel to anywhere. But now that it's not working, lots of people are suffering. Our plea is, if the government can fix it, we will be happy, because the shutdown affected small businesses.
What starts it well is the change of government, where I cannot say why the downfall of the road. I cannot only during the wars, during Boko Haram, that this area close from here to Gombe Gabada, no train.
We expect that the federal government will revive the railway station for us, like some of the children haven't seen a train before, and it will pave way for import of goods from other states, which also make things easy for us. This can create job opportunities for youths. The cattle market, popularly known as Kasuan Shanu, experienced huge patronage in the 90s, where cattle dealers traveling by rail with huge luggage, merchandise, and products without fear made the city a principal trading hub for northeastern Nigeria. Back then, we load like 30 wagons of cattle weekly, sometimes thrice in a week. We also enjoy business those periods. And even the train workers make profit from us. Those days, we export cattle to Umuahia, Port Harcourt, and Enugu. We were sending to Lagos State, but later it cut off, and everything too has to stop for a very long time. The railway cuts beside Maiduguri flour mills straight through the heart of the city and cross behind Bulunkutu area and exits at Duwari. The residents said the impact this mode of transportation had days past was huge on the economic growth of the area. They said the Duwari endpoint is inaccessible because it is believed that Boko Haram terrorists still control the territory. Although federal government had already commenced reconstruction of the railway lines, it's yet to be completed. It is believed that the work will span from Port Harcourt via Aba, Enugu, Makurdi, Plateau, Bauchi, Yobe, and down to Maiduguri. Observers said although the delay has been due to the threat of insurgency and vandalism, when completed, it will change the economic landscape of the Northeast.
Now, away from Nigeria, Queen Elizabeth II has been laid to rest after a state funeral attended by world leaders and a final journey through the streets of London. Monday's funeral comes 11 days after the longest-serving monarch in British history died aged 96 at Balmoral Castle in Scotland on September 8th. Thousands of people lined the streets surrounding Westminster Abbey and Buckingham Palace to witness the passage of the Queen's casket from Westminster Hall to the church and eventually to Windsor Castle, where she was laid to rest alongside her late husband, Prince Philip, and her father, King George VI. Millions watched the funeral on television at home after a public holiday was declared to mark the passing of the Queen. On Monday, Westminster Abbey's tenor bell tolled 96 times at 1-minute intervals, one for every year of her life, stopping before the service started at 10 o'clock GMT to mark the only monarch most Britons have ever known. Let's now take sports updates put together by Adeni Ajishafe.
2 adjustments have been made in the Super Eagles roster ahead of upcoming friendly against Algeria at the 40,000 Stade Olympique in Oran on Tuesday, 27 September. Sporting Charleroi Loni Valentin Osoriwanfo has been handed a call-up as a replacement for Queen's Park Rangers defender Leon Balogun due to injury. The former Galatasaray central defender was earlier placed on standby, has now been promoted to the main list. Emmanuel Dennis has also replaced Henry Onyekuru, who suffered an injury during the first half of Adana Demirspor's 3-0 win at Antalyaspor on Saturday. All invited players have been instructed to report for international duty in the city of Constantine on Monday, 19 September 2022. Nigerian shot put star Chukwuebuka Enekwechi has been ranked among the best athletes by World Athletics. Enekwechi, the reigning African champion in shot put, is ranked 14th in the world with an accumulated score of 1,293 points. The 2018 Commonwealth Games silver medalist is the only African athlete among the top 20 rankings and is distantly followed by Muhammad Hamza from Egypt, ranked 24th with a score of 1,227 points. Meanwhile, reigning Nigerian 100-meter sprinter Favour Ashe tops the list of 4 Nigerian sprinters that made the top 100 ranking list as the 26th best 100-meter runner. 3 other Nigerians listed in the ranking are Raymond Ekebo, 31st, Michelle Richard Shekiri, 64th, and Alaba Akintola, 64th. Nigerian record holder in 400-meter hurdles Nathaniel Ezekiel and javelin star Nnamdi Chinecherem Prosper also made it to the top 100 list of ranked athletes in their respective event. The ranking is based on average score over a certain number of competitions in a defined period of time.
And that's a wrap on Trust News Update. Watch more via all our social media platforms and also watch us live on YouTube. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for watching.